Many of us fondly remember Linda Kozlowski's iconic role in Crocodile Dundee, a film packed with excitement, surprising twists, and a bit of real-life drama. But did you know that some of those scenes were actually real? It might sound ludicrous to imagine doing live, potentially dangerous scenes, but you can't deny the thrill, and apparently neither could Linda. Today we're giving you the inside scoop on Linda Kozlowski, from her background to those daring scenes that left audiences in awe. Let's dive in. Early life. Born on January 7, 1958 in Fairfield, Connecticut, Linda Kozlowski was destined to take on the world from an early age. Raised by her parents Stanley and Helen Kozlowski in Fairfield, Linda attended Andrew Ward High School where she discovered her passion for acting. After graduating in 1976, she set her sights on the prestigious Juilliard School where she honed her craft until 1981. With her training complete, she headed to New York City, immersing herself in the off-Broadway scene and landing roles in productions like How It All Began. One of her most notable early achievements was securing a part alongside Dustin Hoffman in Death of a Salesman. However, life in NYC wasn't easy. Opportunities were scarce and the brutal winters took their toll, so like many aspiring stars, Linda decided to head to sunny California where the promise of Hollywood awaited. Dustin Hoffman, who had been impressed by her performance in Death of a Salesman, graciously offered Linda a place to stay at his Malibu beach house as she pursued her acting dreams. Linda's big break came shortly after her move to California. Just 6 weeks after arriving on the West Coast, she auditioned for the role of Sue Charlton in Crocodile Dundee, a part that would catapult her to international stardom. The audition felt right from the moment she walked in. Linda knew she had nailed it. She was so confident in her performance that she didn't even worry about the outcome, feeling certain that the role was hers. Here's where things get interesting. Dustin Hoffman, who had been both a mentor and friend to Linda, played a pivotal role in securing her breakthrough. After she landed the part, Hoffman made a call to the casting team, giving them high praise for their choice and further solidifying Linda's place in Hollywood history. At first the casting team thought it was a prank, someone pretending to be the Hollywood legend Dustin Hoffman, but once they realized it was really him they knew they had just received the ultimate thumbs up for their decision. When Crocodile Dundee hit theaters in 1986 with Linda Kozlowski starring alongside Paul Hogan, it became an instant blockbuster. Despite its modest $10 million budget, the film rocketed an astonishing $320 million worldwide. Behind the scenes of Crocodile Dundee, but filming wasn't all red carpets and Hollywood glamour. Linda had to adapt to the wild, rugged vibes of the Australian outback where kangaroos and buffaloes roamed around casually as if it were no big deal. Despite the challenges, Crocodile Dundee became a massive success and Linda's fame skyrocketed. Interestingly, Crocodile Dundee was released first in Australia where Linda quickly became a household name. She found herself experiencing a surreal Cinderella moment, basking in the limos and red carpets down under, all while back home in the US she was still cruising around in her old Toyota and hustling for her next acting gig. The contrast between her newfound fame and her everyday life was, in her words, a pretty wild situation. Even with all her newfound fame, Linda Kozlowski felt like she never quite got the spotlight she deserved. She did reprise her role as Sue Charlton in Crocodile Dundee the Sabin in 1988 and again in Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles in 2001. However, after her Dundee success she was inundated with uninspiring scripts, typically casting her as the sidekick girlfriend to comic leads, a role she quickly grew tired of. Linda even joked about using those scripts as firewood for her fireplace. She had high hopes for a film called The Neighbor, which she thought would mark her career comeback, but the film's delayed release added even more time to her wait for a substantial role. Her return as Sue Charlton in Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles in 2001 turned out to be her final appearance in showbiz, serving as her swan song. After that, Linda decided to prioritize her personal life and step away from the spotlight. A love story with Paul Hogan. Now let's dive into the juicier side of things, her personal life. Linda's love life became a focal point when she fell for her Crocodile Dundee co-star Paul Hogan aka Crocodile Dundee himself. But here's the plot twist. Hogan was already married at the time to his first wife Noeen Edwards. Way back in 1958, Paul Hogan married his first wife, Noeen Edwards. They divorced in 1981 only to reconcile a year later, but by 1986, right around the time sparks started flying between Hogan and Linda Kozlowski, they split for good. Rumor has it Hogan left Noeen for Linda, leading to one of Australia's most notorious celebrity divorces. The situation was so messy that Hogan and Noeen didn't speak for 17 years despite having 5 children together. To add even more drama, a TV biopic called Hogas, which detailed Paul's life including his tumultuous relationship with Noeen, aired in Australia with Justine Clark and Josh Lawson portraying the former couple. As for Hogan and Linda's love story, they made it official in May 1990, tying the knot in Australia. Hogan went all out for their wedding, gifting Linda a $2 million mansion as a symbol of their forever love and unbreakable bond. Were Paul and Linda a perfect match? It sure seemed so at the time. They shared a strong compatibility, and in 1998 the couple welcomed their son Chance Hogan. For Linda, motherhood became her top priority and she traded the Hollywood glamour for a more low-key home life. But after 23 years of marriage, things began to unravel. In 2014, Linda Kozlowski and Paul Hogan called it quits, citing irreconcilable differences. After the split, Linda embarked on a journey to rediscover herself, focusing on reclaiming her identity beyond just being known as Paul Hogan's wife. In an interview with New Idea, she openly shared her desire to step out of Paul's shadow and shine on her own. The divorce came with significant financial settlements. According to the Sydney Morning Herald, Linda walked away with a one-time payout of $6.25 million. Paul retained the rights to his iconic Crocodile Dundee character and the production company behind the movies. In addition, Linda was granted the right to stay in their Los Angeles home for up to 4 years or until she remarried, whichever came first. This arrangement provided her with some stability as she figured out her next steps. Despite their differences, Linda often emphasized that respect and understanding were the foundation of their relationship. Hogan admitted they didn't always vibe on the same things, whether it was movies, food, or even music, but they managed to complement each other and make it work for many years. Even after their split, Linda and Paul have remained civil, especially when it comes to co-parenting their son Chance. Both have prioritized putting him first, showing that although their marriage didn't last, their commitment to being there for their son remains strong. Paul once commented, "The wife and I separated and that's the full story. How, when, where, why, no one needs to know any of that." After calling it quits with Hogan, Linda continued to focus on building her own path forward. A new life in Morocco. Linda took a bold leap and traded Hollywood for a fresh start in Morocco. While immersing herself in the stunning culture and scenery, she found love again in the most unexpected way. During her explorations she met Haid Baba, a local tour guide who quickly became a huge part of her life. What started as a casual friendship soon blossomed into both a personal and business partnership. Together they launched a luxury travel comp company in Marrakesh called Dream My Destiny, where they combined their love for adventure to plan customized trips for clients. Reflecting on how they first met, Linda shared that they hit it off right away and felt completely at ease with each other. Now they work side by side creating one-of-a-kind travel experiences, with Baba's insider knowledge of Morocco ensuring everything runs smoothly. Although Linda has been out of the Hollywood spotlight for a while, her timeless charm and legacy continue to captivate fans around the world. Her iconic role as Sue Charlton in Crocodile Dundee remains cemented in cinematic history, and her impact on the industry will be remembered for years to come. Despite stepping away from the glitz and glam of Hollywood, Linda has no plans to return to acting. She finds far more satisfaction and authenticity in her current life. As she put it, "My life is so full now that reality is better than make-believe. I don't miss acting." She disliked how acting often meant staying in while waiting for the next gig to come along, and now enjoys the freedom and fulfillment she's found in her new chapter. Now Linda Kozlowski is fully embracing her freedom and loving every moment of it, trading in the Hollywood scene for a more adventurous life. She has found happiness in exploring new passions and chasing fresh opportunities. Her journey led her to Morocco, where she and her partner Haid Baba run a thriving luxury travel business together. Her time in showbiz honed instincts and skills that she now applies to her current work. Linda admits that acting sharpened her people skills, which have been a game-changer in her travel business. Although her acting days are behind her, Linda's legacy as a talented actress lives on. She may have left the spotlight, but her decision to follow her heart and pursue new ventures is an inspiring reminder that life is about doing what you love. These days Linda's net worth is reportedly over $10 million. As for her ex Paul Hogan, there's some drama involving their son Chance Hogan that apparently left Linda in tears. But before we dive into Paul Hogan's story, let's catch up with the Crocodile Dundee crew and see where they are now. First, let's revisit the film that started it all, Crocodile Dundee. The movie takes viewers on an unforgettable ride from the Australian outback to the bustling streets of New York City. Inspired by the real-life adventures of Rod Annell, the film was made on a shoestring budget of under $10 million with the goal of capturing American audiences. It first hit theaters in Australia on April 30, 1986 and later debuted in the US on September 26, 1986, smashing records along the way. Legacy of Crocodile Dundee. Crocodile Dundee became an instant global sensation, smashing records and grabbing attention worldwide. Filming took place in Go Lagoon near Darwin, Australia, with the crew spending 6 weeks camped out in Jabiru, an abandoned uranium mining spot in Kakadu National Park. To keep things both interesting and safe, the production had an armed guard on set to keep the crocodiles at bay. And of course, who can forget the iconic line, "That's not a knife," which wouldn't have been the same without the killer Bowie knife crafted by the film's armorer John Boring. The massive success of the original Crocodile Dundee movie led to 2 sequels, Crocodile Dundee 2 in 1988 and Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles in 2001. First up, let's talk about John Mullan, who stole the show as Walter Riley, Dundee's loyal sidekick. Although the movie's title suggests Dundee is the main focus, Mullan's role as Walter was pivotal. He was so memorable that he reprised the role in the sequel. Sadly, John Mullan's career was cut short when he passed away from liver cirrhosis in 1989, but he left behind an enduring legacy. He started as a child star on ABC's Stumpy and made his mark on stage with a Shakespearean troupe. Mullan always credited his time in the theater for giving him the discipline that shaped his acting career. Next there's Mark Bloom, who played Richard, the editor who tries to come between Dundee and Sue Charlton. Bloom had a standout career in Hollywood, and even if his face doesn't immediately ring a bell, you've likely seen him in various movies and TV shows including Capital News. He also appeared in more recent shows like Mozart in the Jungle. Off-screen, Bloom was a regular on Broadway. Sadly, we lost him in 2020, but his contributions to film and theater continued to be remembered. Reginald VelJohnson, who made a splash in Hollywood, started his journey with a small role as a limo driver in Crocodile Dundee, but that didn't stop him from making big moves. He later scored major roles in Die Hard and Die Hard 26, and who could forget his iconic stint as Carl Winslow on Family Matters. With 99 credits to his name, Reginald is well known for playing cops and making a lasting impact wherever he goes. Next up is David Franklin, an actor with an impressive resume. Though you might remember him from Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, his work spans over 20 TV shows and 21 films since 1977. He's perhaps best known for playing Brutus on Xena Warrior Princess and also appeared in The Matrix Reloaded. Beyond his acting, David made headlines for his impressive weight loss journey, shedding about 50 pounds thanks to his vegan diet. Talk about dedication. David Gallo, who played Neville Bell in the original Crocodile Dundee, made a huge impact with his performance. However, his life off-screen has been filled with ups and downs, including serious legal troubles like an arrest for domestic abuse. It can be tough to separate the artist from their personal struggles, but his talent remains undeniable. Ernie Dingo, who portrayed Charlie in Crocodile Dundee 2, has continued to stay busy in the industry. While not a huge name in Hollywood, Ernie has built a steady career with over 34 acting credits to his name. His more recent work includes appearances on the TV series Red Fern. Now many of his projects are lesser known in the US, so streaming platforms are your best bet to catch up on his latest work. Rick Gonzalez, who had a small role in Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, has come a long way since then. Forget that early gig. He's made a name for himself with standout roles like Sleep and Roll Bounce and is now dazzling fans as Wild Dog on the CW's Arrow. Then there's Steve Rackman, unforgettable for his role as Meathead in Crocodile Dundee. His epic scenes with Paul Hogan's character left a lasting impression. After hanging up his acting boots, Steve made a major career shift. He moved to Australia, became a professional wrestler known as Crusher, and now runs his own gym, training clients and staying fit. Talk about an impressive transition. Now let's talk about Paul Hogan, the man who was riding high on the wave of Crocodile Dundee fame. It seemed like he was on a fast track to Hollywood stardom, especially with the success of the Crocodile Dundee trilogy, which made waves worldwide. Hogan didn't just star in the films, he co-wrote them too. He snagged a Golden Globe and earned several nominations for his acting in the screenplay. Hogan even co-hosted the Oscars at one point, marking him as a Hollywood heavyweight. But then things took a downward turn. Hogan's reputation suffered when he became embroiled in a tax fraud scandal involving shady offshore accounts. Not long after, he faded from the spotlight, with his last notable appearance being a guest spot on Open Slather. And if that wasn't enough, Hogan's personal life became a tabloid mess, adding to the challenges he faced post-Crocodile Dundee. Paul Hogan's son Chance struggled with his parents' divorce even though Linda Kozlowski remained a constant presence in his life. Recently Paul was devastated by the news that Chance ended up in the hospital covered in cuts and bruises. Chance posted a concerning video on Instagram which stirred up worries about his past issues. An insider told Women's Day that Paul feels completely crushed, like he's failed his son despite trying to do everything he could for him. With Paul's health reportedly taking a hit due to the stress, things are looking rough for the Hogan family. In the video Chance posted, he showed a nasty cut on his collarbone along with several other bruises and bandages. He even had one of those hospital devices that monitor oxygen levels attached to his chest. Despite the injuries, Chance was seen casually sitting in a car with friends, bobbing his head to the music. Later he shared on Instagram that he had broken his face and had been hospitalized. His post included of a large gash on his head and his arm wrapped in bandages. He thanked his followers for their concern. Chance's wild behavior has been a long-standing concern for his father Paul. Back in 2015 Chance made headlines when he was caught drinking and smoking what appeared to be a bong on Paul's balcony. In 2018 he drew more attention when he was photographed vomiting outside a gig in Santa Monica. The images of him holding his head in his hands reportedly broke Paul's heart. Adding to the drama, Chance had to deny accusations of devil worship after he posted unsettling content on Instagram, including the devil's number and a drawing of an upside-down cross. It's been a rough ride for the Hogan family, no doubt, but Chance set the record straight in an interview with Women's Day, saying, "People think I'm some kind of satanic drug addict and that my parents are at each other's throats, but that's just not true." Despite the struggles, Chance is working to clear up misconceptions about his life and his relationship with his parents. Chance Hogan has had his fair share of struggles and he added, "It's like, hey, you're that evil Satanist, right?" On the flip side, Paul Hogan has opened up about his desire to move back to Australia but feels stuck in the US because of Chance. The Crocodile Dundee star admitted that he's feeling homesick and would love to return to his homeland. Currently he's sharing a place with Chance in Venice Beach, but in Paul's eyes his son is very much an American. "The only family Chance has is me," Paul told the Daily Telegraph, noting that most of Chance's close relatives have passed away. Though Chance enjoys visiting Australia, Paul explained that his son's life is firmly rooted in the States. His friends, band, and even girlfriends are all American. It's a tough situation that highlights how deeply divorce can affect children. Linda Kozlowski, hearing about the challenges Chan is facing, can only sit and cry, heartbroken over the situation. Now let's turn to Terry Gill, who might have only appeared briefly in the Crocodile Dundee series but left a lasting impression with his hilarious scene where he pretended to be a kangaroo. Talk about commitment. After Crocodile Dundee, Terry continued to appear in about 70 other films and TV shows, including The Flying Doctor and Prisoner. Sadly, Terry passed away in 2015 at the age of 75, but his memorable performances live on. Next we have Jerry Skilton, who played Nugget in all three Crocodile Dundee films. However, after 2001 Hollywood stopped calling. Despite his efforts to revive his Nugget character through a reality show, the series didn't take off. Still, Jerry's dedication was undeniable even though his final project didn't make it big. Lastly, let's talk about Jonathan Banks. After his Crocodile Dundee days, Banks hit it big, becoming a TV legend with iconic roles in Beverly Hills Cop, Airplane, and Breaking Bad. His career took off and his performances continue to be celebrated today. Jonathan Banks snagged a ton of praise for his work, including Emmy nominations and even some Academy Award buzz. Then there's Paul Rodriguez, who played Diego in Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. Although born in Mexico, Paul has become a big deal in LA's entertainment scene. His comedy chops are well recognized, with standout roles in films like Bloodwork and Ollie. Beyond his acting, Paul has been honored with a Humanitarian of the Year award for his efforts in water conservation. Major kudos to him. Next up we have Jer Burns, known for his epic villainous role as Rothman. Jer's career didn't stop there. He's been killing it on TV with roles in Justified and From Dusk Till Dawn. Plus, he's made his mark on Broadway with shows like Hairspray. This guy has serious range. Now let's talk about Anne Francine. She wasn't just Fran in Crocodile Dundee, she was a total legend in her own right. From playing the Wicked Queen in a live TV version of Snow White to shining as Flora in Harper Valley PTA, and had mad skills. She made her Broadway debut in 1954 alongside Shirley Booth in By the Beautiful Sea. Her role as Vera Charles in the 1966 Broadway hit M.I.M. directed by the iconic Ba Arthur was unforgettable, and get this, she reprised the role with Angela Lansbury in the 1983 revival. Her final Broadway appearance was in the 1999 revival of Anything Goes with Patti LuPone. Sadly, Anne passed away that same year, leaving a big void in the theater world. Last but not least is Alec Wilson. He made his mark in Crocodile Dundee 2 and Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, playing the shady character Denning in Dundee 2 and later switching gears to play Jacko. His ability to slip into such distinct roles left a lasting impression. Alec Wilson, the Aussie buddy in both Crocodile Dundee 2 and Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, brought an authentic Australian accent that made him a perfect fit for the series. While he was a big deal back in the day, Alec's big screen appearances have dwindled since 2013, leaving fans wondering what he's been up to lately. So which Crocodile Dundee star are you vibing with the most, and what's your take on Linda Kozlowski's exciting new chapter in life?